the theft of the vehicle.
Consumer attorney John Gale says a preliminary settlement has been reached, but July 10th could bring approval of the.
Just ahead, tempting anyone who loves a juicy steak, a new high-end restaurant is coming to downtown Rochester. Plus, keeping cool with the cool kids. Today, a celebration of Rochester's Lincolnshire splash pad and small airport survival. Leaders at the Mason City Airport are tackling their concerns. This is your News at Noon.
Live from your local news leader, this is KTTC News.
Good afternoon, I'm Jess Abrahamson. First today at noon, a judge is denying a motion filed by the parents of Madeline Kingsbury to remove the parental rights of her accused killer. Adam Fravel is the father of Madeline's 2 children and currently in the Olmsted County Jail, charged with her murder. In a hearing that wrapped up just a few hours ago, Winona County Judge Mary Leahy suspended Fravel's visitation and denied the motion filed to terminate his parental rights. Judge Leahy was, at times, stern with all parties involved. Fravel's attorney said they aren't asking for visitations at the jail or over Zoom. The judge believes this matter would be better handled in the open family court case and not through the child protection case. Details about this volatile relationship between Madeline Kingsbury and Adam Fravel are raising questions about how hidden domestic abuse often is. If he's found guilty of her murder, Madeline's death would be the 12th from intimate partner homicide in Minnesota this year. Darian Letty talked to some local experts about knowing the signs of an abusive relationship.
When it comes to domestic violence relationships, control is at its core.
Controlling where an individual goes, controlling what they wear, who they have access to.
The perpetrator, the abuser, maintains whether or not that victim will live or die.
And for many, it can be difficult to reach out for help or leave the relationship.
I've talked to numerous survivors over the years who said, you know, it took me a while because I just didn't want to reach out. I was somewhat embarrassed. I didn't want to burden my parents.
They may not have any control over their finances. They may not have control over where they live.
The Advocacy Center of Winona has worked closely with the Kingsbury family and the entire Winona community to mourn the loss of Maddie.
It's very close to home.
Leaders there say what stood out to them in the case is the account of Fravel putting his hands around Madeline's neck.
The perpetrator, the abuser, maintains whether or not that victim will live or die.
According to the Training Institute of Strangulation Prevention, the odds for homicide increase 750% for victims who have been previously strangled compared to victims who have never experienced it.
I think it's important when individuals interact with victims of survivors, whether that's law enforcement, security officers, that recognizing a history or asking the right questions about a history of strangulation in a survivor is going to be really important.
If you or someone you love is a victim of intimate partner violence, reach out to a crisis line. And we have the numbers for the Rochester Women's Shelter and the Advocacy Center of Winona on the web version of this story, kttc.com. Starting today, Rochester Towers residents are allowed to return to pick up their belongings following the abrupt evacuation of that building 11 days ago. The multi-day process will be supervised by the management company for the complex. We're told access into the building is going to be on a floor-by-floor basis. Each resident will be given a designated time slot. They're asking residents to only take essential items and to leave larger things for later. 5th Avenue Southwest will be closed in front of the building starting today, and that will continue through Friday. Let's talk about weather now. Meteorologist Ted Schmidt is joining us out on a bright weather patio. Hi, Ted.
Hi, Jess. Yeah, very warm day, a little warmer than yesterday. Certainly that is very evident once you step outside. We barely reached into the 80s yesterday for high temperatures. Today we're already in the 80s, and we are going to tack on a few more degrees with some hazy sunshine and just a gentle northwest breeze to go with that. And so a bright, warm taste of early summer warmth going on right now. Here's our current scene from our Lewis Dodauto camera. This is from Assisi Heights. A little hazy, plenty of sunshine. It's 81 right now here at the studio. The wind is barely moving, just a little bit of breeze outside the confines of the walls here in the weather patio. It's certainly more noticeable, but it wouldn't mind a little more of a breeze inside the patio too. Dew point 52, so not a lot of humidity, but certainly plenty of summer warmth, considering the average high this time of the year is 78. We've already moved past that. It's 81 at the airport in Rochester, 82 in Austin, 83 in Mason City, and 82 in La Crosse at this hour. As for rain or even clouds, really nothing happening on satellite radar. We'll stick with that theme for a bit longer, certainly through today, next couple days as well. Allergy report, moderate for ragweed, trees, grasses, but now dust. Yesterday was low. Today it's high as things are still dry and quite warm. UV index very high today, more than 8 out of 10 at this point in the day. Weather almanac, typical high this time of the year, 78, and sunset coming up at 8:54. And as I mentioned earlier, we're above average. We'll stick with this range for a bit longer. Look for a high today of 85, a hint of a breeze, a lot of sun, a bit of haze. Of course, we have the air quality alert that goes until 8 o'clock this evening as we are dealing with some of that some of those remnants of some smoke from wildfires in Canada. So that's going on, but otherwise warm sunshine, the big story today. So try to stay hydrated and stay in the shade if you can, I guess.
Very good advice, Ted. Thank you. And on that note, we're going to be feeling the heat in the coming days. And there's a new way that you can keep cool in Rochester. Today, Rochester Parks and Recreation and the City Parks Foundation celebrated the splash pad at Lincolnshire. Residents and businesses donated $37,000 to make this project a reality for the community. In all, more than 100 donations were made.
We're very thankful that kids will enjoy this, not today, but for decades to come. Thankful that we have places that people can come without cost because of the great taxpayers of Rochester who are willing to put resources where we need to have them so that everybody can enjoy an active life.
The splash pad is located off Members Parkway Northwest. It's open daily, and the pad features can be activated from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. Happening today, Olmsted County's 65th annual rabies vaccination clinic. This is an opportunity for pet owners to protect their furry friends, family, and community from the viral disease. Veterinarians will be giving rabies vaccines to dogs, cats, and ferrets for $20 cash. You're asked to bring your pet in a carrier or on a leash.
Wild animals can carry the rabies virus, and if pets are outside interacting with those wild animals, they can contract the virus and then spread it to people within the home.
The county partners with local vets to put on this clinic every year. Pet owners are asked to bring their animal's previous year's rabies certificate to this clinic. We have a list of locations and the times this is happening on our website, kttc.com. Small town airport survival. We're hearing about plans to keep those planes coming in. First, a new high-end restaurant is coming to Rochester to tempt anyone who loves a good steak. We'll be right back. If you love a hearty steak, you'll soon have a new dinner option in Rochester. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse is coming to the Kaler Grand Hotel. The 7,800 square foot restaurant will feature outdoor seating, a full bar, and a private dining area. It's going in the space of the former Grand Grill restaurant in the hotel lobby. That restaurant is currently under demolition. Build out for the new steakhouse is set for late this summer, and the restaurant is expected to open early next year. It will become one of about 150 Ruth's Chris locations. Small airport leaders in the Midwest are coming together to urge the Department of Transportation to take action to pass some regulations they say will help to maintain safe and reliable service. Back in March of last year, SkyWest Airlines executives told the Department of Transportation they would stop running their services out of multiple cities, including Mason City, due to the pilot shortage. Months later, in September of 2022, SkyWest Charter, a smaller commuter airline, has submitted an application to the DOT to provide scheduled services in smaller communities to help solve the problem. The DOT has not yet approved that application, and small airport leaders say the department's hesitation is frustrating.
There's no regulatory reason that SkyWest Charter's authorization should be withheld. We welcome SkyWest Charter's application, and we're asking the Department of Transportation to expedite their certification, which will help keep our region connected to the global air network with high quality air service.
Several other airports support the SkyWest Charter, including Fort Dodge Airport in Iowa, along with multiple other airports in Kansas. The story will continue to watch. Here's Ted with more on our Wednesday as we're feeling the heat and still dealing with some air quality concerns.
Some warm sunshine, some haze today. Temperatures on the way to the mid-80s. We're going to be experiencing a lot of this type of warmth in the coming days, and maybe just, if we're lucky, a little bit of rain as well. The latest in your 7-day forecast is coming up after our market report.
Miss part of our newscast? KTTC has you covered.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Ted Schmidt.
We are reaching that really warm part of the week. Ted is in with more on what's happening outside.
Pretty good looking day, Jess. The frustrating thing is, once again, we're dealing with the air quality issues. That is something that is, in the next few hours, going to deteriorate a little bit. So far at this hour, not a problem, but give it a few hours and yeah, there'll be some changes here. Another thing we're going to be experiencing over the next few days, a lot more of that summer warmth. But we're loving the sunshine here, early morning daylight already from Lake City. Here's the view from first thing this morning. That's looking outside at the dock there. One of the docks anyway from Lake City with our Lewis Donato camera from along the shoreline of Lake Pepin. A beautiful day to be out and about in the boat. First thing in the morning, even there are people out and about at sunrise. Right now, blue hazy sunshine, blue sky anyway, some hazy sunshine. Temperatures already in the 80s, looking for mid-80s later on. Skies are generally sunny. There's a thin veil of some haze aloft. There's a front sagging southward. That may change things around a little bit. Not necessarily triggering rain chances for us locally, but that same front may improve the air quality, at least slightly, moving through tomorrow. Now today so far we are in the moderate range, but you notice more of this orange beginning to encroach upon the area ahead of that front, and what we're going to be experiencing today is deterioration of that air quality to some extent, possibly reaching the orange range, which is unhealthy for sensitive groups. And with that in mind, there is an air quality alert for today that runs until 8 o'clock. Now, they've expanded that. The MPCA and even in Wisconsin now has joined it. Earlier today, we only had about 5 counties. Now, all of the counties north of the Minnesota-Iowa border have joined that air quality alert until 8 o'clock this evening. Air quality an issue today, not as much tomorrow, and certainly some vast improvement through Friday as that front moves through, and then we start seeing some of that fresh air coming in, or at least a better dose of air mixing down from aloft in the atmosphere. 81 right now in Rochester, 81 in Dodge Center, Mesa City 83, and Cresco, Iowa 82. So a summer-like day and warmer than we've been at this hour since the middle of last week. Next few days will feature something very similar. A lot of mid-80s in our future. It's low to mid-80s in any case in the foreseeable future. Hazy sunshine, then a couple of showers over the weekend, but nothing extreme, nothing severe, and certainly nothing heavy in the way of rainfall. And right now, Future Track computer modeling tried to suggest that we'll see maybe a shower. Looking at the late afternoon, showers may pop up ahead of that approaching front, but at this point, that's going to die out. We're running into dry air, a stable atmosphere, some fairly quiet weather really headed our way for the most part today. Showers may reignite south of us, but at this point, we're going to stay dry here locally through our Thursday and Friday. And Saturday, eventually we'll see a chance of showers, maybe a rumble of thunder late in the day, and perhaps a slight chance behind that with the storm system moving through the region on Sunday. So rain chances in those 2 days. Saturday, perhaps very early Sunday, or at least midday portion of Sunday with an isolated storm or two involved. Temperatures for today, mainly in the mid-80s. A lot of sunshine, hazy sun with that northwest breeze, only around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And again, tomorrow, hazy sunshine, a little more of a north breeze. Temperatures in the mid-80s. Temperature outlook for the next several days, looking at low and mid-80s all the way through the middle of next week and maybe even the days beyond. Some sunshine today, northwest winds around 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, 59, a seasonable night with a very light breeze. And tomorrow, a lot of sunshine again. Look for hazy sunshine, a light north breeze, 84 for your Thursday. And the 7-day outlook, we're looking at the possibility of showers, a couple of thunderstorms as we move into Saturday afternoon and evening. A slight chance of a shower or two lagging behind that storm system and that cold front on Sunday. Otherwise, next week looking dry and warm. We see very few rain chances, unfortunately, after this weekend. And not everybody's going to get rain this weekend. Those who don't get it may have to wait an entire week to see another round of rain. This is very dry and slightly above average temperature pattern for us. So unfortunately, the brown is going to get browner in some of those spots where things are already rainfall deficient. I wish I had better news, but it may get even drier.
Yeah, if only we could package up a nice rainfall and give that to Dad for Father's Day.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Ted. Home sweet home. 2 Minnesota shelter dogs are starting their happy ever after their unbreakable bond went viral online. We're going to meet their new family just ahead.
Scan the code now for the free
Brenda and Linda, happily ever after. 2 dogs featured in a viral video after Brenda scaled a wall to be with Linda at the Minneapolis Animal Care and Control Facility are now living their very best lives. Sharon Yu sits down with their new family.
Just as the internet couldn't believe its eyes,
and I just kind of went, what?
Kathy Walker couldn't either, watching this viral video.
And I replayed it again, and I was like, no way. Not in one shot. And I played it again.
She decided she would like to see the dynamic duo themselves with the most curious of intentions.
Because as of the day before, I didn't want any other dogs. We had lost our dog after 13 and a half years to really weird cancer that we didn't know he had.
Make you feel better, we'll go look at him. It was just a look. She just wanted to go see him.
Curious minds turned to tender hearts.
30 minutes later, we were taking him home. And that was it. I was like, fine, whatever. They deserve a chance like anybody else.
Brenda and Linda still inseparable.
You can't split them up. You just can't. Even when we send them out to potty, one goes, the one that went outside, notice the other one's not right behind, sit at the door waiting for the other one to come out.
While 2 new dogs won't wholly replace an old one, attraction and bond are invisible but invincible powers.
Her coloring, the way she did it, and the fact that she had to take care of her buddy. And I was just thinking to myself, and this is going to sound corny, I really thought my Samson had something to do with this.
The only fence they're building now is to keep them both in together.
I don't think she's going to be one of those escape artists, because as long as she sees Linda, she's all good.
What a sweet family. Well, Howard has a taste of summer in the kitchen.
It's Flag Day, so display your stars and stripes and join us as we celebrate with an all-American dessert.
You're right. That's the old.
In case you didn't notice it on your calendar, today is Flag Day. So to celebrate, besides proudly displaying it and wearing something red, white, and blue, we created a patriotic homemade ice cream that's also worth adopting. All you have to do is mix together a can of sweetened condensed milk, a splash of vanilla, and a couple of drops of red food coloring. To that, we stir in a package of frozen strawberries that we thawed and mashed. Now, we fold in some freshly whipped heavy cream. The key here is to do it gently so the whipped cream doesn't break down. Then we spoon this into an airtight container and into the freezer it goes to firm up. What we end up with is the best strawberry ice cream you've ever tasted. You could even top this off with a few blueberries and a mini American flag, and you've got a dessert that is Flag Day worthy. To get the recipe, go online and type in Strawberry Patch Ice Cream. While you're there, make sure you sign up for our free e-newsletter so you can get all of our TV recipes delivered daily to your inbox. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a patriotic way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
And June is Dairy Month, and it's just warm out. All the good reasons to eat and enjoy ice cream.
Perfect day for ice cream, Jess. Then of course I've been known to say that about any given day of the year. Depends on if you want to eat it indoors or outdoors, and certainly today would be a great outdoor ice cream eating day. I know that line at the ice cream shop, wherever you want to go, is going to be pretty long on a day like this. And it looks like a beautiful day to be out and about in general. A lot of sunshine, just a hint of a breeze, not as much of that wind as we've had the past couple of days, so maybe feeling even extra warm without that wind to stir things up, but still good day to be out and about. Maybe go to the pool or something like that. That's our Lewis Didauto camera from downtown Rochester. Right now it's 83. The winds are light here at the studio, 8 miles per hour, dew point 52, so it actually feels like 83. No wind chill, or rather heat index impact, because there's no humidity really to speak of yet anyway in our area. 81 in Rochester at the airport. It's 81 in Dodge Center, Mason City 83, and Zumbrota 81. Rain is not on the radar, nor will it be for quite some time. We are looking at a very dry scene across the entire region. Allergy report with the dryness around. We've noticed now that dust is in the high range. Everything else moderate, aside from mold, which is still low. UV index 9, approaching 9 anyway. That's the very kind of getting toward the very high end of the scale, but definitely getting up there. 15 to 25 minutes for sunburn at daylight today because of that. And the weather almanac, 78 is the typical high for the state in our climate record, and looks like we're to be well above that certainly by the end of the day. We are already above it now, but mid-80s expected later today, and sunset just before 9 o'clock this evening. 85 today. Mostly sunny and hazy. We do have the air quality alert in effect until 8 o'clock because of the presence of that smoke in the wildfires mixing down in the atmosphere. So some of that impacted some of the area through the course of today. Ted's Trivia on June 14th of what year was the flag of the United States officially adopted by the Second Continental Congress? They saw it, they liked it, they okayed it, they approved it, they adopted it, and now it is our flag, although it did look a little different back then. They had fewer stars, but anyways, the stars were to signify the new constellation, and that's where that came from. Anyway, it's one of those 4 options below, and we'll have that answer in a few minutes, Jess.
An appropriate question on Flag Day. And of course, Ted, I always love when you wear your flag tie on Flag Day.
Kind of a fun thing, yeah.
Yeah, looks good on the weather patio. Thank you, Ted. Consumer alert, a recall linked to hepatitis A concerns may have you checking your freezer. And the king of beer has fallen. A new brand is now claiming top sales. We'll be right back. So what do we do with this big piece of equipment? Well, let me show you. Bud Light is no longer the top-selling beer in the U.S. Modelo Especial has taken over the spot. They did that in May. According to an analysis by consulting firm Bump Williams, Modelo represented more than 8% of retail store beer sales in the 4 weeks ending June 3rd. Bud Light was just above 7% during the same time period. The drop in sales seems to coincide with Bud Light teaming up with a transgender influencer. Anheuser-Busch says a single can with her face on it was only given to her and was not for sale to the general public and not part of a broad campaign. A fruit company based in Salem, Oregon is voluntarily recalling several of its frozen fruit items that contain strawberries. Willamette Valley Fruit Company says the strawberries were grown in Mexico and could be contaminated with hepatitis A. The company is recalling the following products out of an abundance of caution: Great Value Sliced Strawberries, Great Value Mixed Fruit, Great Valley Antioxidant Blend, Raider Farms Organic Fresh Start Smoothie Blend, and Raider Farms Organic Berry Trio. The products were sold at Walmart and Costco. So far, no reports of anyone getting sick from the affected items. Inflation is continuing to cool. Our Ag Day Minute shares the latest numbers and why they're dropping.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. Inflation appears to have slowed down a bit. The latest consumer price index rising just 0.1% from April to May. That brings the annual level down to 4% from 4.9% in April. Now, the pullback was driven by lower gas prices, a much smaller rise in grocery prices, and less expensive furniture, airfares, and appliances. The key numbers arriving just one day before the Federal Reserve is expected to announce it's leaving interest rates alone after imposing 10 straight rate hikes. Grubhub says it's laying off about 15% of its workforce. It says it needs to reduce costs and stay competitive due to well-funded rivals and declining demand. Sales for food delivery companies surged during the early stages of the pandemic, but experts say they have since plateaued due to customers returning to dine-in experiences. Grubhub, which used to be the market leader, has now fallen to third place behind DoorDash and Uber Eats. And a fair favorite is back in cookie form. Oreo reintroducing cotton candy Oreos in stores across the U.S. It's made with the golden Oreo as its base with pink and blue cotton candy flavored cream in the middle. It has already started showing up on store shelves, but it's not known for how long. The company is calling it a limited edition. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or anytime at agweb.com. Scan the code now for the free KTTC.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Ted Schmidt.
Good looking early summer day going on right now. We started the morning in the 50s already. We've made it into the 80s. We still have a few hours of daylight ahead of us to warm up a little longer. But one thing that we've noticed here, a change in the past few hours, notice much more of that haze evident along the horizon. This is the current view from Lake City live with our Lewiston Auto Live camera along the shoreline of Lake Pepin on the Mississippi River. And otherwise a good looking day to be out and about. It almost beckons you to jump in because you really, you have to find a way to stay cool on a warm summer day. We have some of that warm, hazy sunshine going on right now. Temperatures in the 80s, on our way to the mid-80s, and we're going to spend most of the next week to 10 days in that range. Long spell of warmth in ahead of us. And right now, cloud-free sky, aside from some of the haze aloft, no rain certainly to be seen. The storm system that was bringing showers to the region earlier this week has finally begun to migrate onto the east. In its wake, we have that cold front slowly sagging southward. Eventually, that will move through, but no rain chances with that for us here locally. We're going to have a slight shift in pattern. We have haze right now. We have air quality index that is now in the moderate range. The orange getting closer to us. In fact, just the past few minutes, we've begun to see some expansion of the unhealthy for sensitive groups. That is the orange range spread southward, and we're going to be in that range through much of the afternoon and evening. Because of that, we have an air quality alert. And in fact, from now until 8 o'clock this evening for all of southern Minnesota, just about all of Wisconsin anyway, because of the presence of some of that smoke in the atmosphere, adding to that haze and some of those fine particles that may cause problems for those with sensitive respiratory situations. The coming days look a little better. Behind that front, we'll see an improvement to moderate and eventually good range with that air quality in the coming days. So it gets better. But as we have seen so many times already this season, it is an issue. The haze already evident from Rochester. Just a change in the past hour or so to see this much haze. Right now it's 81 in Rochester, 84 in Austin, Mason City 83, 82 in Red Wing, La Crosse now 82. Hazy sunshine. Some haze tomorrow and for Friday, not as much of it maybe, but still plenty of that warm sunshine and a hint of a breeze. Then we move over to the weekend, and if you're looking for rain, and at this point we all are, there are rain chances, nothing extreme. But at least there's a chance, and that is it. That may be the only chance for quite some time in our outlook. Right now, the deficit for this month alone is 2 inches. We've only had 0.4 of an inch. This, on average, is the wettest month of the year, and so far has been one of the driest we've had in a really long time. And right now, the forecast not looking promising in that regard. So hopefully we get something out of this weekend's rain chances. Otherwise, the yellow that's surrounding much of the area is beginning to encroach upon the rest of the area. So that is the abnormally dry range, and we may see more of that beige. In other words, that moderate drought showing up in more of the region over the next few days. If we remain rain-free, that deficit will grow. It's about 3 to 4 inches for the last month alone, going back to mid-May. And as we move along, we normally would see quite a bit of rain this stretch of time, and we're not seeing any. Future track trying to kick off some showers. They will die out before they get here, even if they do develop. At this point, this very iffy situation as that weak front moves through the area later today. Tomorrow, maybe a couple of showers south of us. we will stay dry with maybe a degree or two cooler behind that front. Really not much change aside for the improvement in air quality. And Friday, more of that bright, warm sunshine in the store. Rain chances over the weekend. A few of those late Saturday, chance of scattered showers, a storm or two. And then Sunday, slight chance of a shower popping up in the afternoon or maybe the midday hours. Rainfall amounts, unfortunately, this is all we're expecting in the next 5 days. Less than a quarter of an inch. Computer modeling is suggesting to the west maybe a little more, but in any case, this isn't very much. Normally, this stretch of time we would see somewhere around an inch in a typical mid-June stretch of weather, but that's not the case this time around. Temperatures in mid-80s today. Dodge Center 84, Mesa City 85 with some haze and some sunshine tomorrow. Maybe a little bit of a north breeze, a little less of that haze. Still plenty of sun and maybe a degree or two cooler in some spots. 80 in Winona, Rochester 84, and Mesa City 89. Temperature outlook, typically we would be just shy of 80. That's the 30-year average, but we're going to be above that for the next week, maybe even longer. Mid-80s a fair amount of time. And then down the road, this is stretching ahead through all of Rochester Fest, Jess. We're talking mid and maybe even upper 80s. Woo. So if you're the lemonade vendor,
yes.
If you're an ice cream vendor, you're probably getting excited about this because we have a long stretch of warm sunshine ahead of us. If you're actually doing any events down, you're probably happy not to have to worry about the threat of a downpour of rain. We've had that more often than not. At least a time or two during Rochester Fest, but this time does not look to be the concern. 85 today, hazy sunshine, a hint of a northwest breeze. 59 tonight, partly cloudy skies, a seasonable night, and mostly sunny skies again tomorrow. North breeze at times 15 miles per hour. High of 84. And the 7-day temperature outlook, 7-day forecast overall. Showers, a couple of thunderstorms over the weekend, and staying dry beyond that for the rest of next week. Ted's Trivia on June 14th of what year was the flag of the United States officially adopted by the Second Continental Congress?
Ooh, I'm going to go with D, 1781?
It was actually 1777 this happened,
Okay.
and the same day, 2 years prior, they had actually formed the Army.
Oh.
The U.S. Army was formed and the same date, so happy birthday to those Army servicemen and veterans. My sister-in-law among those, who's a retired colonel in the Army, and happy birthday, Army.
Yes, you can wear your flag tie over there and wish her in person.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, thank you, Ted. As Minnesota becomes known as a place with protected LGBTQ+ rights, people from other states are taking notice. They're actually moving north for these protections. One Florida couple is sharing why they're moving to the land of 10,000 lakes. That's just ahead.
Scan the code.
Minnesota is seeing more new residents because of the state's transgender refuge bill. David Schumann spoke with a Florida couple who's moving to the Twin Cities in hopes of starting a better life.
Here want to start a family. You know, we want to have kids.
Basically live a normal adult life, Lydia Prettyman says. She's a transgender woman who says the culture and political climate in her home of Florida has made it time for a change.
When I worked at a hotel, I was faced with threatened with violence. Now that I work at a bank, I've had clients refuse to sit with me because I am transgender visibly, and they see that and they don't want to, show basic respect.
Lydia and her husband Tony will move to Burnsville in a few weeks, partly because Tony has family here, but also because of the legal protections Minnesota's passed this year, namely in its trans refuge bill.
But we're not going to allow people to be told they don't belong.
The bill protects access to gender-affirming health care, and Lydia intends to have surgery here.
That is the most exciting element of it, for my wife to be able to be her true and entire self in public, at work, and get the respect that she does deserve.
As a trans man, I'm pretty proud to be a Minnesotan.
Andy Otto with Twin Cities Pride says he gets 10 to 20 calls a day from families interested in moving to Minnesota.
Right now, we're one of the only states to really push the care and have the amount of clinics and doctors around.
The clerk will take the roll on the bill.
Minnesota Republicans have called the trans refuge bill extreme and say it puts children at risk. Lydia and Tony say the legislation gives them hope.
I'm just really looking forward to being a citizen of Minnesota.
Otto says the best ways to be an ally are simply to speak up and be welcoming. Russian forces fired cruise missiles at the southern Ukrainian city of Odessa and shelled other regions today, killing at least 6 people and damaging dozens of homes. NBC's Raf Sanchez is reporting from Kyiv.
Ukrainians today once again waking up to a wave of deadly Russian missile strikes. This time it was families in Odessa jolted out of their beds in the early hours of the morning by caliber cruise missiles hitting the city. One of them hit a McDonald's, nearby businesses. Ukrainian officials say 3 civilians were killed in Odessa. Another 3 were killed in Donetsk by Russian shelling, where we've seen so much of the fighting recently. And this comes just one day after 11 people were killed in a Russian missile strike on President Zelensky's hometown of Kryvyi Rih. Meanwhile, the president of Belarus is saying that Russia has begun moving tactical nuclear missiles into the territory of his country. If true, this would be the first time that Russia has moved nuclear weapons outside of its borders since the fall of the Soviet Union. The White House has previously warned Putin against what it calls irresponsible nuclear brinksmanship, but said it sees no need at this point to adjust America's nuclear posture. This all comes as Ukraine continues to make incremental but steady gains in its counteroffensive. Raf Sanchez, NBC News, Kyiv.
The House has passed a bill that prevents Washington from banning gas-powered stoves. The GOP-backed measure passed Tuesday with 240 votes, and that would include 25 Democrats. It now heads to the Democratic-controlled Senate, where it will likely stall. Stoves became a hot political issue in Washington when the commissioner of the Consumer Product Safety Commission floated the idea of a future ban on the appliances after reviewing a study which linked the usage of gas stoves to an increased risk of childhood asthma. Democrats have said Congress should be focused on other issues. There is no denying the popularity of Crocs, and even a popular taco chain is cashing in on the casual footwear. We'll explain next. The hottest in summer footwear is here, and it's brought to you by Crocs and Taco Bell. The brands have joined forces to bring the first ever Mellow Slides. The shoes sport Taco Bell's logo. They go on sale June 28th exclusively on Crocs.com, and they're going to cost you $60. This isn't the fast food chain's first step into the retail space. In 2019, Taco Bell opened up a hotel gift shop in its pop-up Palm Springs hotel, and that sold swimwear, sunglasses, and life-size sauce packet pool floats. I guess those shoes would go well with that pool float.
Yeah, you have to put the whole thing together and have quite the outfit. Be ready for anything in the summer.
Yes,
and in weather like this.
Maybe wear those to the new Lincolnshire splash pad.
Yeah, it certainly could with your Taco Bell swimsuit and your towel. All that stuff,
all the good
floaties,
things.
I guess, too. Anyway, bring your own sauce packet, too. You may need to take lunch on the road. It's a great day to be out and about today. Look for some warm, hazy sunshine, a high of 85. That is about 7 degrees above the seasonal average, something we're going to have to get used to because more often than not, the next week to 10 days, we're going to be at least 5 or 6 degrees above the seasonal average. Not extreme heat, but just definitely a little bit above average. And certainly a long spell of warm sunshine is going to be the rule. There is a chance of showers and a couple of thunderstorms. At this point, not a promising amount of rainfall from that, happening mainly late Saturday into Saturday night. Sunday, maybe a brief shower or two. Otherwise, the weekend features some more of that warm sunshine. Next week, even warmer with even more sunshine. Then may hold on until the final days of the month as it stands right now, this long spell of warmth.
Thanks, Ted. Enjoy your afternoon.